choreographer, dancer, reality TV star, actress, mother. Andrea Kelly is all these things and more. But to many, she was one thing, R. Kelly's wife. Often shielded from the world by the shadows of her ex-husband's success, Drea Kelly withstood a 13-year marriage war torn with alleged abuse and sexual assault allegations. Now, 10 years removed from her union with the musical icon, she's ready to share her side of their twisted tale of love and alleged betrayal for the first time. But even more than that, she's ready to reveal a woman of purpose, passion, and service. Please welcome my friend, my sister, Andrea Kelly. Oh my God! First of all, you're gorgeous.
Thank you. Likewise,
your body's
Queen.
on fleek. Okay, then. I just every time I come around you, I just get to say it
Oh,
about how fine you are.
I don't know now, honey, because that's all in all in all.
I had to step up for you.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
okay, I'll take it.
Drea, I'm so glad you're here, and it's especially interesting Sister Circle with your story.
Yeah.
What I want to know, the very first question that I want to know, and I think that all of our viewers want to know is, who is Drea Kelly before R. Kelly and now? What is the transition? What is the difference between these two women?
You know, there really isn't a difference. She just got lost. And I think a lot of women, we get in relationships, we get married, we become the mother, and you lose yourself. The woman I was before him, strong, a little firecracker. I say I'm little, but I'm lethal.
Okay.
Plays no games. Don't do it. I'm from the south side of Chicago. Don't let this baby hair fool you.
South side?
Yes. Don't let this baby hair fool you. She don't do the game.
Okay.
You know, a survivor by nature. I often say that before I was even born, I was already in the ring with life or death. My mom threatened a miscarriage from her first trimester on. At 3 months, they were like, you know, you should not have this baby. So I came into this world a fighter, and that's all I know how to do. A theater brat, a bunhead, as you see.
Yeah.
Danced before I could walk. My parents said, you just stood up one day and just started dancing. And it wasn't like that weird, like, oh, okay,
like
birthday party.
moves.
They said you was in it. Soul Train was on, and they went to commercial. They said you put your hands up like Poltergeist, and you were like, more. And my dad said, we knew that you were going to be a dancer or a performer. Always have been outspoken. You know, I'm an Aquarius, too. You say left, I go right. I got to see what's on the right side of it. So you get lost sometimes, and I think the woman that I was and the woman I became, it just wasn't a different person. It was just a lost Drea.
Andrea, why is it important? I mean, it's been, I don't know, 10 years since you have spoken out to anyone about your relationship with R. Kelly. Why is it so important to come out now? What is the basis of this stance?
The basis of this stance is you have to love somebody enough to tell them enough. And I don't believe that my ex-husband has enough people in his life to be real with him, to be honest with him, who care about his healing, who care about these families' healings. And I feel like it's God's time. I was not strong enough. How can I be a voice for the voiceless when I don't even have my own? How can I be powerful for the powerless when I don't even have my own? So I had to wait until God said, okay, daughter, it is time. It's like being in boot camp. It's like being in training. I had to go through the trenches. I had to build myself up. I had to go through counseling.
Yes.
I had to even get to the point to accept that I'm a victim of domestic violence. That's a hard thing to look in the mirror and say. And then you are put on a platform where you're like, now I have to make a choice. Do I tell people? Do I not tell people? Because at the end of the day, my story is not about your curiosity. I'm not here to satisfy people's curiosity because then people want gory details. They want to know, well, what did he say? What was it like? What did you see? What did you do?
Right.
Now I'm satisfying your curiosity. I'm here about my journey.
About your journey.
It's about my journey.
And speaking of this journey, and I believe that your eyes were the only eyes that saw the truth.
Yes.
In your journey, what point did you realize something's not right? Something is wrong. When did you know, when did this Holy Spirit say, okay, Drea, we got to make a different direction. We got to go a different direction.
You know, sad but true, it wasn't until, I said I was going to cry.
It's okay. We're ready.
It wasn't until the day that I wanted to commit suicide, tried to commit suicide, that it took so many years. But as a mother, when you get to a point that you're okay to leave your 3 babies without a mom, and death was better than spending another day with him, that's when it became reality for me. And what's sad is that most women don't even realize that the physical abuse is the aftermath of all the emotional, the psychological, everything you've already been through. The physical is just the aftermath of it. And you've been broken down so much. Your self-esteem has been chopped away so much that, of course, when it happens, you're like, that's the next step. Why not? It was a harsh reality for me to realize that the first time that I was in an abusive relationship wasn't him. It was actually witnessing my grandfather, who was a Baptist preacher, beat my grandmother. And that's the first time I ever saw a man put his hands on a woman.
Do you feel like generational curses then, that they are real? And when R. Kelly Robert to us talks about in his book Solar Coaster, you know, him being molested and abused, do you think that these generational curses are what makes us, and well, not makes us, but they bleed into who we are as a people?
You know, I don't like to use the word generational curse.
Okay.
I like to use the term learned behavior.
Learned behavior.
Because you can also unlearn what you've been taught.
Yes, that's good.
I could very well sit here today and say, because I was a victim of domestic violence, all men are bad. I'm going to victimize other people. You have a choice. And just like he went through abuse, you have the choice to get help, but you have to want it. That's not an excuse. It's not a pass. You don't get to say, oh, well, because this is what I was taught, this is what I was exposed to as a child, then I'm going to go ahead and victimize other people. You have to make a choice.
And we reached out to R. Kelly's management, but we did not get a response. Either way, we'll have more in our exclusive interview with Andrea Kelly, including how her 3 kids are coping when we come back. Stay with us. It's okay. With over 75 million records sold and 12 solo studio albums to his credit, R. Kelly revolutionized R&B music. But amid a string of sexual assault allegations spanning over 20 years, his musical legacy has ballooned into a bubble of controversy. Despite canceled concerts, the plights of the Me Too and Mute R. Kelly movements, and Spotify making moves to cut ties with the Grammy winner, R. Kelly maintains a stance of innocence.
They canceled it. I don't know why they canceled the show. I never heard of a show being canceled because of rumors.
And with skeptics and supporters continuing to weigh in on both sides, questions surrounding R. Kelly's character remain unanswered. Welcome back, and as I continue this conversation with the woman who arguably knew R. Kelly best, his ex-wife Andrea Kelly, I hope to get some answers about the man, the father, the husband, and the musical icon. But before him, let's get into you more. Mm-hmm. I've known you so long.
Forever.
15, 20 years,
yes.
child. And I go back to the time that I remember we were on TP2 tour, and the very first time that I saw you come on stage, because people, I mean, if you have not seen Drea Kelly dance, you have not lived. I'm talking about surpassing Alvin Ailey. Okay?
Thank you.
I saw you dance and get ready because you choreographed all his shows.
Yes.
And then I saw you get off stage after this ridiculously ferocious performance and take the baby in your arms and go backstage and get ready for the next scene.
Yep.
You are an amazing mother.
Thank you.
And that was my first encounter with you as a woman, you know, and I was very young. You're an amazing mother. How has it been shielding them from what is all over the internet and everywhere? How can you protect them from this?
You can't. That's the hard part, being a mom. You just cannot. Wow, this is, again, I just want to apologize to the audience. This is very difficult for me.
It's okay. But here is the place you can do it.
As a mom, you want to protect your children from all pain.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's a boo-boo on the knee to being bullied in school. When he went through the trial, I just remember something said, your lioness, protect your cubs. That's it. That's all I cared about, protecting my babies. But then as it grew, and it got out into the media, there were certain things I couldn't protect my babies from. You can't protect them when they're in school and they're by themselves. And I remember one instance, my daughter did not share this with me, my oldest Joanne. She did not share this with me in probably 2 years ago. She said, Mom, I remember one day we had a reading session in class and everybody had to get up in front of the class and read. And a little boy, Mason, in her class, they're all getting up and Joanne walks to the front of the class and she grabs her book. And the little boy, Mason, decides that today is joke day and he says, so Joanne, let me ask you this. Does your dad pee on you at night instead of reading you bedtime stories? And I just remember as a mom, my heart broke in a million pieces.
And how did Robert R. Kelly, what was his role? How did he foster them
There
through
isn't
this?
one. There isn't one.
You were alone in this.
I'm alone, was alone, am alone, and will continue to be alone. And I'm very aware of it. I remember doing the Hollywood Exes, and people would always ask me, what do you feel about Robert Dre? And I would always say, you know, just because we're divorced doesn't mean we're not a family. And I feel differently about that now. Because I feel like as a family, as a father, you protect your children. You stand up for your children. You are present for your children. I don't believe that he even understands the magnitude to the things that I deal with, even being away from him 10 years. He doesn't understand the magnitude to which my children get bullied on Instagram. He doesn't understand to the magnitude.
As the conversation continues with Drea, we hope to get some answers, maybe more, about his father and Drea and where they are continuing. Stay right here. We'll be back.